the Eye Care Program. 35 years of alcohol, drug abuse, and violence prevention. Serving the East Baton Rouge Parish community since 1981.
Good afternoon, Brian, and good afternoon to our listeners out there at lunchtime today. And so we are so glad to be here with you this afternoon, and we thank iCare for the opportunity to bring this information to you. We're going to be talking about My Brother's Keeper, Baton Rouge today. And Brian, there's a lot of information we can share with folks, and I'm hoping it's going to motivate them and encourage them to get involved and to help our kids.
Yes, Gail, I'm excited about My Brother's Keeper and all of the opportunities that are there for us to work together and to work in collaboration with other individuals and organizations across the city. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about My Brother's Keeper, and I'm looking forward to getting others out in the audience engaged with My Brother's Keeper.
And I know by now people are probably saying, what is My Brother's Keeper? And so let's go ahead and give some foundation information about how we got started. Actually, My Brother's Keeper has been in our community since the fall of 2004. Holden accepted the national challenge that came from the White House, President Obama. And since that time, we've been very busy on trying to improve the life outcomes of our children and closing the opportunity gaps. We've decided to do that in two particular ways here in Baton Rouge, and that is to ensure that our kids start school ready to learn. That's cognitively, physically, mentally, and socially ready to learn. But we also understand the importance that kids should read on level by third grade. And so we are in specific communities with My Brother's Keeper, although we definitely want to improve those life outcomes for all of our kids. And so, Brian, you want to share a little bit about why we are in specific communities in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, what we're targeting with My Brother's Keeper in the city of Baton Rouge is the following three zip codes: 70802, 70805, and 70806. And the reason we're targeting those zip codes because My Brother's Keeper really is focusing on African American males. And if you look at the percentage of African Americans in those three zip codes, approximately 50% of the black population live in those three zip codes in Baton Rouge. If you look further, about 54% of the African American males between the ages of 0 and 22 live in those zip codes. Looking even further, about 53% of African American males 0 to 9 live in those zip codes. So when you look at our two initiatives, getting kids ready for school and also getting kids ready to be able to read in third grade, we're picking up a large percentage of the black population in our kids. We're not excluding any other portions of the city, but we realize we have to target first before we can expand out.
Well, that's true, and we've been very busy on connecting with our partners who are doing amazing work for the kids that are living in those communities, and we've got some exciting things that are on the horizon. But more than anything, we want to just amplify what our partners are doing and helping them to do it better. And better by I mean getting the community involved and letting the community be informed, helping them to be informed about what our needs are. One of the things that we really have started to address is reading on level by third grade. And making sure we try to get books into the homes of young folks, and making sure that we encourage their reading and reading comprehension. We are a part of the Barnes & Noble Book Fair, and we just had our kickoff about a couple of weeks ago, and thus far we've collected about 700 books. And so we know that those books are going to end up in the homes of children, and encouraging them to read and encouraging them to improve on their skills. And so that's exciting. And so for any of you out there who are interested in being a part of the book fair, we just ask you to continue to support that effort. Many of you may have books in your own home, but there are many kids in our communities who do not have books in their homes, and we know that that's an important aspect.
And one of the things My Brother's Keeper is looking at is, we're not looking at creating new programming per se. What we're looking at is, how do we work with existing programs, and how do we enhance existing programs? And correct me if I'm wrong, Gail, but we're working with VIPS, Volunteers in Public Schools, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Which VIPS really works with kids with reading and with math. And we want to encourage you to be active with VIPS and to be active with My Brother's Keeper.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, because right now we have about 1,100 kids who have been referred to the VIPS program needing a reading pal, needing someone to come alongside them in order to help them read and improve their grades and improve their skills. Thus far, we have about 450 kids matched. We need 650 individuals who are willing to sit down with a kindergartner through second or third grade to help them. I know that we can do it, but we can only do it if the community becomes committed. We want you to be a My Brother's Keeper reader, to partner with VIPS, who will do the training, who will assign you a kid, who will give you everything that you need in order to help that child increase their reading skills. And so we're very happy to be a strong partner with VIPS with this particular area.
And when you look at those three zip codes that we're talking about in the elementary schools in those three zip codes, there are approximately 23 elementary schools in those three zip codes. About 64% of those schools are either a D school or an F school. And we know our public school system, they're working hard, and they're putting forth a lot of effort to move those schools and to move our kids. But it's going to take more than just the school system. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take a combined effort. So I want to encourage you to be a part of the VIPS program, and encourage you to participate in our schools.
Absolutely, and folks may be asking exactly what can I do and how can I do it. My Brother's Keeper Baton Rouge actually developed a community toolkit that has 6 tracks. And so what it tells you is step by step how to get engaged with My Brother's Keeper. And it categorizes you in whatever category you're comfortable with. If you're a parent and a caregiver and you want to know how can I get involved, there's a track for you. If you're a business and you want to know how can I help kids to start school ready to learn and help them to read on level by third grade, there is definitely a track for you. Our faith-based organizations and our churches, there is a track that you can also help us. One of the things we want to do is to increase screenings for kids, so that we will have kids who are absolutely ready for school, not just with school supplies and backpack, which is things they definitely need, right?
Right.
But we want them to also be physically ready to learn in school, and sometimes that means that they need to be screened. And a lot of our churches do screenings for the adults to talk about high blood pressure and things that impact our health. But our kids need to be screened as well, so that we will know whether they're seeing correctly, whether they're hearing correctly, whether there's other things that will be a barrier to learning. And so our faith-based organizations can agree to do sort of a screening fair for our kids. And we at MBK will help you with the practitioners to come out and to help carry that out. But whatever category you're in, our community toolkit, you can pick it up, and it will guide you through the steps on getting engaged. You can email us at mbkbr@brgov.com, or you can go to our website at www.mbkbr.com. So I'm looking forward to really getting a lot of hits and a lot of questions about this.
I do want to encourage you to go out to the website and see all of the things that are happening with MBK and sort of the initiatives that are out there. And Gail, maybe you can talk to them. You talked about the churches doing sort of the screening and the fair. You can maybe give them a little insight in terms of the beginning of the year fair we had for MBK.
Yes, absolutely. For our MBK, our EduFest, we had more than 30 partners that came out to be with our kids, and we had more than 400 kids, elementary age kids. I mean, it was exciting at the Family and Youth Service Centers. There were kids everywhere. And we did hearing screenings. We were able to have the library out in order to help them with reading. We had exercising and fun, let's move, and the kids were dancing and they were moving about. It was a day that was full of helping our kids in a fun way to know how important it is to be physically and emotionally ready for school. We had eye care out in Capital area doing some mental health type and counseling types of services, and we even had one of our community partners come out and do haircuts for our kids. They continue to, line for line, they continue to get haircuts, free haircuts, but they have to read a book. So it's fun ways to encourage kids to read and at the same time kind of help the parents, right? Because who a parent doesn't want a free haircut for their little boy? So it's just really neat day.
Another thing you can maybe talk a little bit about, Gail, is I know you're working pretty closely with the Urban Congress and
Yes.
sort of the initiatives that are going on with African American males in Baton Rouge with the Urban Congress. And this is sort of an example of how My Brother's Keeper is forming collaborations and working with other organizations. And we realize this is something that won't get done in a vacuum. It's going to take all of us working together as a community to make a difference for our kids.
That's correct, and Urban Congress is doing amazing work, and MBK definitely want to be a partner and be a part of the work that's being done, and we are part of the steering committee, and we are definitely helping to fashion the goal that's with Urban Congress that deals with readiness for kids and for reading for kids. And so I do ask that the community connect with the Urban Congress as well. The next Congress will be coming up in April 2017, so please consider joining that effort to make sure holistically from birth to post-secondary education that our kids are ready to enter the workforce and can earn a living to take care of families. And that, at the end of the day, is what it's about. It's closing the opportunity gap and improving life outcomes for all kids, but particularly boys and men of color. And I think our community we're well able to do that. But as you've said, Brian, we do need everybody. Everybody's got to step in, all hands on deck. And this is so doable. It is. Well, I think there were just a couple more things we could probably let folks know about that's coming up. Throughout 2017, we plan to have at least 4 of our community listening sessions or network meetings or even watch parties where there's some things that we can get together with young people and with parents and actually learn together, hear each other, and continue MBKBR in a way that is collaborative with our parents, with our young people, because their voices are important and critical as a part of this process. So we just ask you to continue to listen out for MBK throughout 2017 and join us in one of the 4 listening sessions we'll have in the community. It's been great. We thank you for sharing a part of your lunch with us. Again, if you have any more questions about MBK, please reach out to us. Our website is www.mbkbr.com, or you can connect with us on Twitter at MBK Baton Rouge, or check us out on Facebook and all these other social media avenues that we have. It's just been great to be with you this afternoon.
And we're looking forward to engaging with you, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.